All right, so currently I'm joined by Kaizer Chiefs Kaizer Motaung Junior just to chat a bit more about this particular derby that is happening tomorrow. Welcome to the show, Kaizer. I mean, 100th Soweto derby. Let's take, or you should take us down memory lane. What are those fondest moments that you have of going to the derby when you were young and actually taking part in the Soweto derby?
Good evening, and thank you very much for having me, and to all the viewers. How are you? I'm Kgasoe for life. I think it's a very special one. I think there's no words that can describe the 100th challenge. I think the fact that look at the history and what it all means and how this game was actually formed. I mean, to play in tomorrow's one is truly, truly, truly an honor and a privilege for all the players involved. On my side, I think, like every other player, playing in the derby and actually scoring in a derby, I mean, that is something that you speak to anybody, especially in an offensive position. It's like it's a dream come true. So if I look back at my past, I would probably have to say, having gotten my goal at FNB against them, apart from a debut coming on and seeing, half the stadium black and white and half gold and black, it's just an experience that no one can really put into words, or I certainly can't, So I think for me, I think just getting scoring against our arch rivals is nothing that beats that. And I think that's something that stayed special in my heart for all these years.
And I mean, from the side of the club, how important is it to make sure that you preserve the magnitude of the Soweto derby? I mean, we're seeing the likes of the rise of Mamelodi Sundowns. Do you think us seeing them win season in, season out has somehow tainted the magnitude of the Soweto derby?
I beg to differ with the season in and season out. I think that they've done very well in the last recent couple of seasons, and I think that credit must be given to them for the level that they put out over the last couple of years. When it comes to our performance as a club, and especially the history that's steeped with our arch rivals, London Pirates, it's very important that the level of excellence on the pitch measures and meets up to the expectation off the pitch. And I think we're a club that's built on success, on excellence, and I think the generations that don that jersey need to understand that. And I think that is the main component in why the derby is, such a great historical occasion. I think it has a great social impact and social, responsibility on the players also, where the derby was formed in a time in our country that had was going through a great political change. And so it's not just the elements that happen on the pitch, but of course the impact, the dignity, the pride that, playing in the derby, playing in the London Stadium, playing those games brought the African nation at that time here in South Africa. So I think it goes far beyond the pitch. And of course, comparisons at the end of the day will only be done with the results and the quality of play on the pitch. So I do think that it is something very special. It is not something that will be, lost or forlorn anytime soon. I think that the essence of the game is still very important to the people on the ground. And I just think that, of course, when, you have your rivals from the next province, doing well, it's just a signal to us to regroup and, of course, do the best that we can to lift and raise our level.
I mean, talking about the responsibility of the players playing in the Soweto derby, I was chatting to Kaizer Chiefs legend Banks Claudio earlier on, and he was just saying that back in the days, the players were self-motivated. Just the fact that they're going to be playing in the Soweto derby motivated them enough. They didn't need a coach to tell them, you need to play hard and make sure that you play well. Do you think the players nowadays really understand how big of a game the Soweto derby is?
When I was also watching a bit of DSTV's interview, I mean, he is, a prime example of the true essence of the shoulders of the giants that we're standing on, So I think that it is a big question. I mean, the guys need to understand that, we know that there's many other games in the season, but the reason why the club itself and the derby is what it is because of its importance. And, if you're going into play, and it shouldn't just be a derby match, but if you're wearing a Kaizer Chiefs jersey, there's so much pride and honor that comes with that. I mean, you're not representing yourself, you're representing your community, you're representing your family, you're representing millions and millions of South Africans across the country, and even in the continent, and even globally. So I think that remembering where you are, respecting the badge, understanding what people did to make this club what it is today. We're only here because of the great achievements of those before us, and it is our duty and our responsibility to fulfill our role and the players' roles need to understand that they need to fulfill their role by performing and giving their utmost best on that pitch. I mean, you be a Chiefs or a Pirates, you need to be the best, in your craft. And I think that the players need to understand that it goes much, much more further than just a football game and just about 3 points. And I think that it is very important. And the self-motivation just comes by understanding where you are, respecting where you are, and knowing the legacy you carry. So, yes, it's a very important point. And I think that is the first step in when you do talk about the derby, talk about Chiefs, you need to understand and respect where you are.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I need to fit in this question just quickly. Just want to hear your thoughts on the current form of Kaizer Chiefs, and do you think we're going to see any changes maybe to make sure that you salvage the season?
No, I think that, all we've got to do is always make sure that we get down to the hard work. We can talk off the pitch about all the different kind of changes, but it's got to show on the pitch. Of course, it's not an ideal season so far. We understand, the trial that we came from last year, the transition, many factors that are involved at the moment in time. And I think that it's a no-brainer for everyone to see that this is not our position. This is not where we in a familiar territory to be there on this log table. The performance will be given, but of course, the gents, the coach, the technical staff, and everyone at Naturina is hard at work to make sure that everyone comes together, pulls their best, and does the best that they can in the season. Football is a beautiful game. You learn lessons every day, and I think this is the transition that we're going through right now. And of course, we're going to give our blood, sweat, and tears on the pitch to make sure that we respect the badge, uplift the team, and do the best we can this season, and look forward to planning on next season.
Just quickly, message to the fans. Unfortunately, 100th Soweto derby happening without them.
That is something that is really, really touching, because the fans are the backbone of everything that we do. The fans are the backbone, not just of the derby, but of the club itself. We know that this club belongs to the clubs, the fans themselves. It is for them, and to not have them in the stands, that is a huge, huge loss. We felt it last year. It was the most surreal and most awkward, element the players had to go through, was to play without their fans. And even this year, to have really 3 games, no supporters in a Soweto derby, not the most ideal. But we know that we have millions and millions of fans watching on the screens. We know that our responsibility, lies with them. And hopefully soon, God willing, when the pandemic subsides, we'll be having them in the stands with us. We sorely miss them, sorry, but we'll give them our best and utmost in the field, blood, sweat, and tears for them to get the results tomorrow.
Well, Kaizer, thank you very much for your time. Kaizer Motaung Junior, just chatting a bit more about the Soweto derby that is happening tomorrow, the 100th Soweto derby against Orlando Pirates. I'll have more on